Knows more about oil trading than just about anybody we know. Independent trader Eric Bolling joins us now on the telephone to talk about what oil has done today. Eric, can you give us an explanation?
David, by the way, Liz, perfect summary. I mean, early on, we were just looking at some of the news items over the weekend. OPEC speaking like they may even cut production, which is absolutely crazy to me. By the way, they're already exceeding their quotas, so I have no faith in them cutting any production. But the market started to get very strong over the weekend. Sunday night, it was trading up $1 or so. Then I'll tell you, this Nigerian thing, this is huge. The MEND is that group in Nigeria that basically says that the Nigerian government is exploiting their oil industry, and they wanted a piece of that oil industry. Their leader, they say, has been assassinated or killed in prison, what they say. So that brought the oil market from about $1.50 higher, $1.80 higher, almost to $4 higher at the time. You combine that with gasoline making all-time highs based on a refinery, and you really have a recipe for continued high prices.
Eric, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to alert you that Nigerian authorities, for what it's worth, are saying that this guy is still alive, by the way. So who knows how that will settle. But we had been focusing more on the fact that a lot of these shorts were expiring, that perhaps traders such as yourself were partly responsible for driving the price of oil higher. How do you respond to that?
Well, you know, anytime you go into an expiration with a market going in one direction, you tend to get more volatility in that direction. I think you're seeing that right now, David. I think you're going to see continued really serious volatility tomorrow. You know, a $4 move in oil, a 4% move in oil, that is huge. You'll probably see that continue tomorrow with every news piece, whether or not Chavez in Venezuela, you know, steps up and says, you know, we're going to cut off oil supplies, or if MEND says we're going to step up some of their attacks on some of the oil fields or the oil pipelines in Nigeria, that may spike oil prices higher. And if in fact Mr. Oka is alive, you may see a substantial sell-off in oil tomorrow as well.
And gasoline too, Eric? I'm glad you brought up gasoline. If we can show the RBOB chart here, I'm seeing up about 9 pennies to $2.58. Everybody was wondering if we'd see that similar sort of disconnect between the gas crack, that sort of spread between crude and gasoline that we saw in the spring. But listen, gasoline is jumping just like oil is jumping.
It is, Liz, but you're right. You're right. It absolutely is jumping, but it could jump a lot more. I mean, these gas cracks, what you mentioned, the value of the gasoline over the price of the crude oil, it's really a refiner's margin. It's very low.
Why?
It's very, very low because the crude oil has just taken off for geopolitical reasons, and the real fundamental, you know, when it comes down to it, you don't need crude oil for anything else other than heating oil, gasoline, and some jet fuel, right? So if the crude oil market is taking off while the others are lagging, and that's what's happened probably over the last 6 months or so, then it tells you one of two things has to happen. Either these pump prices have to go substantially higher, or crude is going to, you know, basically catch itself and realize it should be $20 to $25 lower. I have a hunch that the way things are going in the world right now, you're going to see pump prices, both gasoline, heating oil prices delivered at your home. Yeah, I'm sorry. They're going higher.
That's it. Oh. You know, you've got people getting crushed with heating oil as well. But, Eric, the market now up about 2 pennies. David and I were noticing that as soon as oil touched 100 and went through it, the market reversed. It was up more than 80 points. How much of that reversal had to do with the price of oil?
It's amazing. It's amazing it took that long for the stock market to realize what was going on. Now, remember this, though. A big piece of that S&P market are oil names, oil integrated oil companies, refiners, some transport companies. So to a certain extent, you know, we talked about this a long time. There's somewhat of a tie between oil and the market. It should kind of help the market along, but when it really rips like 4.5% in a day, that generally makes people a little bit nervous about the cost of inflation.
It certainly got our notice, I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, but I'll tell you, you know what? It surprised me. I was looking at the thing. It was up $4 at one point, or $3.85, and the S&Ps were still up 10 handles. I was like, wait a minute, one of these things doesn't make sense to me. And sure enough, the market just kind of, the stock market, the equities market, kind of fell apart in the last, 45 minutes or so.
All right. Can you just stay here all the time, Eric? We need you. Thank you.